So today I want to make what would amount to things like, I don't know, poker chips, game chips, or possibly wax seals. Interesting. Okay, I've got my design here and I'll just show you what it looks like because this is only an inch. So it's very small and you can't easily see it. So what I did was I went into AI. I chose Fibonacci for vector designing and I just plugged in angry dragon head and I had a couple of images come up. I had these two. I chose that one just as a vector design to put onto a small coin. Now I have an XTool S1. I can't deep engrave metal or anything like that. So to make a traditional brass wax seal would be impossible for me. But if you're determined enough, there are ways around this. You can still do a wax seal. So I've already got everything set up. And in fact, I've already cut this and engraved it. But what I did for the engrave settings on here, I'm using a 3mm basswood, power of 70, speed 251. That's only because I couldn't be bothered to put in 250. And I'm doing 2 passes and then the standard cut line as per normal. So very easy to do, takes about 3 minutes, just send it to process. That part of the job is done. So I've got 3 of these designs done in various strengths. So this wasn't very deeply engraved. This one was a bit deeper, but this is the deepest. So what you want to do is decide how deep you want to go. And then what you want to do is get some glycerin. So get some glycerin on here because you want to work the glycerin into all the nooks and crannies in here. Get it well coated, because the glycerin is going to stop this sticking to whatever you're going to put it into. Put a little bit of glycerin on the edge as well to make sure that the edge doesn't stick because it's going to be embedded. And I'm not using wax today because I don't happen to have any to hand, but I do have a hot glue gun. Now my glue gun that I'm using today is a mini one. Just take off any excess glycerin. So that bit is done. So now, get my hot glue gun, which happens to have white glue in it at the moment, and about 6 pumps of this will give me enough glue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, or even 8. Depends how much you want to do. Now this has got a mix of red and white because that's what I had in the glue gun. Pop it down on there and try and make sure it is level. Press it down just a little bit and that's going to give you basically your imprint, and then you can do whatever you like with it. Now they're fun for putting on things like cards, greeting cards. They're fun for using as present wrapping seals. You could also use them for game chips and things like that. I've got one here which, I don't know if you can see easily, is a dragon. And I actually put some paint over that to make it a different colour. It's colour shifting paint. That was with a black glue. I've got another one of the dragons here done in a different colour. I've got a rose blank here that I did. And this is one of the roses. Okay, so you know, depending on what design you do, you'll get different effects. And I've been experimenting with different colour powders, pushing powders onto them. But the other thing that you can do if you want to, if you don't want to turn them into wax seals, you can use these as game chips. And there are a variety of ways that you can make them look a little different. So you can, for example, get some powdered colour. I'm going to put this onto a piece of paper because otherwise it's going to get a mess everywhere. And just take a soft brush, dip it into the powder. You could go over it with a paint, of course, but a powder will settle inside. I'll tip some of that off because it's a bit too much there. Powder will settle into the grooves and you can just rub off any that's around the edges. You could also use embossing powder in it if you wanted to. That works really well, particularly if it's quite a deep design. Bear in mind this was one of the more shallow ones that I did. And then you can apply some UV gel. So you always want to work it to the edge. Try and make sure you don't have any bubbles. Let's see what the front looks like. Oh, that's come out quite nicely. It's a different effect altogether from my other ones, but I really quite like that. And the reason that it works is because of the glycerin on the wood. If you didn't have the glycerin on the wood, it would stick to that and there's no way you'd be getting it off very easily. But the glycerin acts as a barrier. This one's had a minute. It's probably not fully cured. It's firm but not fully cured. So that's the result for that one. So you could do it a bit larger. You could use it as a badge if you wanted to. Make a very nice badge. If you just stick a badge back, you can buy these things in multi-packs and make it into a badge. So really quite nice if you want to do birthday badges for someone or a special occasion like Christmas badges, that type of thing. You could put them on hair slides even to make something very special for a particular person. And it's a fun thing to do with your leftover bits of wood from other bigger projects.